Today we are making pico de gallo salsa. Now the word pico de gallo means small pepper salsa. Pico means small and de gallo means pepper. So here is our array of different ingredients. Now we have some onions, some pepper, some green pepper, some onions, some chopped up onions, some cilantro. And we also have some tomatoes, which we're going to chop up, and we're going to squeeze some juice out of a lime. Now, this ingredient is cilantro, you see. This is what cilantro looks like. It's chopped up very fine, not as fine as capers, but you can see how fine it's chopped up. And then this is what it looks like when you get it from the store. You see the big head of cilantro, which you get from the market. Now we're also using some hot red pepper. Now you realize you're supposed to wear gloves, but I'm not wearing gloves because gloves are a distraction while cutting the pepper because my hands are too small and they won't fit. But if you don't wear gloves and you cut a really hot pepper, your hands are going to burn for hours and you're going to feel very miserable. And believe me, if my hands would be burning up, the whole film would have to be deleted. And I would be crying, hollering, complaining, crying a lot of that things for hours. So this is how you cut a chili pepper. So we're going to cut the pepper first because that is the hardest part of the assembly. So we're going to cut the stem off. So cut the stem off, and then there is you see some seeds in there. I'm just going to pull those out. The stem is not always the best part because you don't want people to eat stems. Oh, well, that was a little too big. Now we're going to cut in between the pepper. Then we're going to remove the seeds. And you need to remove the seeds. Now, if you like spicy food, well, by all means, leave them in. But my kind of food is a little spicy, but not too spicy. I like a little bit of heat. Just depends on what I'm eating. If it's Mexican, I want heat. If it's any kind of dessert, I want sweetness. Just depends on what I'm eating, alright? Now, you see all those seeds. And then let me get them all out because I'm kind of particular. If you're not as particular, you could leave them in. Then afterwards, we're going to cut tiny strips of pepper. And be really careful because if you're cutting something that's very small and very thin, you may cut your finger. So you have to really focus on the bowl because a good chef focuses on what they're doing. Otherwise, they cut their finger while they're chopping. And believe me, I saw a lot of, I watch Chopped, and I know a lot of you've seen Chopped, and you might have realized that a lot of the chefs cut their fingers because they're not aware of it. And so being aware of something is always good because that is how things are going to work out for you. Now, we're going to cut the other pepper, very thin strips. And then we're going to cut little pieces of pepper and then we're going to add it to our tomato mixture here. So be very careful that they're not too big because we don't want people to get sick and get startled by the heat, really. So then cut small slices of some pepper. So you cut that, and then we are going to add it to the mixture. And then we're going to cut small slices of this one. So this one's a little less orange, and sometimes they can be less orange, and the dish is still going to taste good. The greener ones are the hotter ones. You might not believe it, but the greener ones are hotter than the red. It depends on what kind of pepper they are. So then cut pepper again into small slices. And this one's more red. The other one was a little more orange. So then we're going to add the peppers to our tomato mixture. More peppers to the tomato mixture. And then put the other pepper on the board. Cut that one that's a little too big. And then we're going to add the peppers to the mixture. You really have to make sure they're not too big. So let's do that one. Then put another pepper on the board and then cut that one. That one's a little funky. Woo! But that'll have to do. So cut more slices. There. I was about to cut my finger there, but I didn't, thankfully. Then we have 2 more to go. So cut this one. Very good. And this salsa, the pico de gallo, is a very famous and popular salsa all over Mexico. And I actually was watching some Mexican cooking shows. Mexico, one plate at a time. And I don't know if you've seen it, but he does some pretty fascinating recipes. Rick Bayless, he does some recipes I never knew about. Usually when people think of Mexican cooking, they think of tacos, enchiladas, cheese, beef, chicken. But he takes Mexican cooking to a whole new level. So then add the peppers in. And then we added all pepper flavorings. And then we're going to dump this in the garbage so we don't have seeds on our tomatoes. Now let me get the, oh good gracious. Well, how would I do this? So then pull the seeds into the garbage. There. Now we're going to cut the tomato. So here we have some of our, this is the hot pepper. And the reason I didn't cut the hot pepper was because I needed to wear gloves, and so my hands are too small and it distracts me from cooking. So then put the spoon in it and I burn my fingers. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is if you're cutting your peppers, you have to don your gloves and not ever touch your face. Otherwise your eyes will burn and it'll be painful. Then we're going to add in our onions. We're going to put some chopped onions in the mixture. Get a spoon for that. I didn't know why I used a knife. And then our cilantro. Put the cilantro in the thing, and I never waste anything because I really like cilantro. I like the smell, I like the flavor, and I love it when Mexican cooks put cilantro in their salsa. I love it when they do that. Now we're going to bring over tomatoes because what is pico de gallo without some very good ripe tomatoes? So these kind of remind me of deviled eggs because they have the shape. Now, these are kind of rocky, so we're going to just kind of, I'll do my best here, and then cut very thin slices because this is pico. This is supposed to be a small salsa. I know it looks like a lot, and that one was a little too thick there. A little too thick, but that's alright. Then we're going to cut more slices. Let me move it over. Of tomato. Let me just do that there. This is what gets hard. When things get hard while cooking, you need to really concentrate. I got some juice on my fingers, but tomato juice will not help me. The best thing from your garden is some fresh golden tomatoes, and then going to cut one more. I'm just hoping I don't cut my finger off. Let me do that. Hold on, decide where to cut though. There. Very good. Then put all the slices in an array like this. And then turn the knife and cut that way. And your slices might be a little uneven. So all we're doing is we're toning the tomatoes. You can also tone the boat if you want, if it's easier for you. So then, cut more slices of tomato. There might be a little uneven there, but it's alright. And separate the tomato slices if it's easier for you. So then, very thin slices. It's always important to cut the right amount of slices as you're cooking. So now we're going to add this mixture to our salsa, and I realize I need to cut up more tomatoes, which I'll do. Transfer all tomato slices to the bowl. There we go. Then we can do that. Okay. And then bring over our other tomatoes. So again, all you do is you let me get a napkin to wipe off my knife so I don't get cilantro. I get picky, but I'm very particular about mixed foods because I do not like anything with mixed foods because I think it changes the flavor. So, cut the tomatoes into strips, just like so. Very thin, even strips. My finger I think I splintered it while doing the pepper, but it's alright, I'll get a band-aid for it later. But it doesn't bother me very much. Let me leave that one to be. And then you put them all together in a group, and then you cut them very thin. Very thin. Very thin slices. There's a lot of cutting involved in this particular salsa. There. And now I'm going to kind of fudge and do very thin slices. So if you're lazy, you still need to do thin slices because otherwise there's going to be a whole chunk of a tomato, and I'm trying to make sure that I don't get that. So I'm cutting the tomato on the cutting board. So just continue doing that there. There. Let me just finish that one. That's stubborn. Good. And then just do that one now. And then put more tomato in the salsa. You want enough tomato to do the work. And I think one more will do it, and then we're gonna stop. So one more here, and then all we're gonna do is we're going to cut the tomato like we did. Very neat, even slices there. There. Then we're going to cut more tomato slices there. And sometimes you're kind of impatient to get it over with, but you need to be patient. Cooking requires patience, and you all should know that. The other one, I don't like that one. Let me just discard that one because that's not very neat. And then put all the slices in a group like so, and then cut them again. Alright, you want to make sure they're small enough. Oops. There. Then we're going to put the tomatoes in the mix. I just hope I didn't spill anything. Well, I spilled a little bit. Well, I didn't spill anything. Just a reflection coming from the glass. Or the bowl, rather. So I think that's all the tomatoes we need because it looks like enough. And now we're going to talk about the lime. So let me clean off the bowl here so I can work. So we're going to cut the lime in half. So I'm going to cut the lime. Oops, do the other napkin. That. And then we're going to cut the lime into, this is kind of tricky. Well,
want me to help you? Would you like some help? Oh, let's watch it.
Can do the
Here, watch your
lime.
fingers.
There, thank you. Do the lime now. Thank you for your help. Now, we're going to squeeze it through a strainer because this is very important because there are seeds in the lime. I know you don't see them. Look, there's no seeds in the lime. But if you squeeze it, then you'll see seeds. And I don't want people to taste them and like, is that a seed in your pico de gallo sauce? So we're going to strain it. We're going to squeeze the lime. Hopefully this lime is easy enough to squeeze. If it's not, it's alright. So then squeeze with your hands to get enough, get enough lime juice. This lime is tricky. You know, some limes are kind of tricky to get because they're not very fresh.
There's plenty of one.
And then do the other lime. The other lime, you need all the limes in the thing. There. Getting all that flavor. And cooking is important because you want to make sure you don't get too little or too less. And now we're going to season it, not very much because we don't want this to go over salty. And then we're going to stir it all together. So we're going to mix it around very nicely. We have the tomatoes, the hot red pepper, the cilantro, the onions, and we have the fresh lime juice. And lemons are not very popular in Mexican cuisine. Limes are more popular because they add a very nice flavor. And limes are used in ceviches. They have this popular sort of thing with seafoods and lime juice, and limes are really good for this sauce. A ceviche would work very nicely with this as well. So let me clean off my spoon. A little more mixing. And this is pico de gallo salsa made with some tomato, some fresh lime juice, some hot red pepper, and some onion. Bon appetit.